All right, welcome to the Berrien County On-Site Sewage Appeal Meeting. This is January 6th. I'm calling the meeting to order, and I'd like each individual to introduce themselves, who's on the board, and tell us where they're located. Commissioner Scott, would you begin?
Yes, Commissioner Scott, via Zoom from New Buffalo Township.
All right, Dr. Gleiber, if you'll unmute and introduce yourself.
Wayne Gleiber. I'm a member of the Sewage Appeals Board, and I'm currently in Chickeming Township.
Okay. Judge Dwayne, would you introduce yourself and tell us your physical location?
I'm John Dwayne. I'm a member of the Sewage Appeal Board by virtue of being Berrien County Corporate Counsel. I'm appearing virtually by Zoom, and I'm physically located in Palm Springs, California.
Thank you. I'm Peg Coring. I am chair of the Board of Health, and I'm physically in Chickeming Township. I'd also like to introduce Tom Oldenburg, if you would like to come off Zoom, off mute, please. And then we'll have the staff introduce themselves.
Yes, I'm Tom Oldenburg, Vice President, Oldenburg and Son Excavating via Zoom, currently physically located in Sawyer and Chickeming Township.
Okay. All right. And the staff who are participating in the meeting, just so we know who's there, if you would introduce yourself, starting with Brian, please.
My name is Brian Murphy, EH Supervisor at the Berrien County Health Department in Benton Harbor.
Okay. Laird.
Laird Willard, Berrien County Health Department via Zoom, Health Department location.
Okay. That's all I can see in the meeting. Is there anyone else there?
Sonia Bowie, Program Support Specialist. I'm doing the minutes for this meeting.
Thank you very much. Okay. The agenda is in front of you, and I'd like to ask for approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Commissioner Scott has moved for approving. May we have a second?
I second.
Judge John Dwayne.
Okay, so moved by Commissioner Scott, second by Judge Dwayne. Any discussion about the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Okay. So you have the minutes from the meeting of December 2nd, and I must say I messed up and I need to apologize. So I understand from Judge Dwayne that we need to do the minutes as they were, what happened during the meeting, rather than doing the corrections that I suggested this morning. So my apologies. May I have a motion for the minutes that went out on with the agenda for approval?
I'll move that we approve the minutes as originally sent out. Yes.
Okay, so Judge Dwayne has moved. Is there a second?
Wayne, I'll second.
Okay, Wayne Gleiber has second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. So I guess I jumped ahead and did the introductions, but I understand, Tom Oldenburg, that you are representing the landowner. And so the way this goes is we have the owner installer presentation, then the Berrien County Health Department presentation. At that time, board members can ask questions. Then the board will discuss. We have the option of visiting the site, and then a decision and adjournment. So we'll start with you, Mr. Oldenburg, if you would like to unmute and give us your presentation on this property. I understand that, just for clarification, that Mr. Clint is selling it. I do know Mr. Clint, but since his sister, I think it's sister buying the land, I don't know her. So I don't feel like I have a conflict of interest, but I open that up if anybody thinks I do have a conflict of interest. All right. Okay, Mr. Oldenburg, if you will unmute and give.
Okay, and again, thank you for everyone for meeting today. I'm going to go through my first page and just pretty much do some highlights here. This parcel is located on Weechick Road in Sawyer, Michigan. It's in section 12. It's approximately 5.01 acres. Because of the conditions out there, the health department requested a backhoe cuts, which I believe went to 10, 12 feet out there. There's about 8 to 10 inches of topsoil, and that would blend to a yellow/brown clay. Pretty much ground that does not perk well. In order to accommodate a system to actually work, I designed a 6-foot raised mound system. It will, part of the system, it'll be a 1,500 gallon tank with a fluent filter. There will be no garbage grinder in the house. A 500 gallon dowsing tank in order to bring the fluent to the field. And then a 30 by 40 foot raised mound system, 6 feet tall, 10 runs perforated pipe, solid header, perforated footer. The actual drain bed begins at 4 foot above grade. Be using sand from our Nye Road pit, which we've used on many systems. Probably use 2-inch septic slag on this one, topped with filter fabric in lieu of straw. I do have, I'm hoping everybody's got copies of these. I do have, I believe the second page being overhead view of the property with grades on there. I used the number 600 as kind of a base mark. That's where the house is going to sit. And we're concentrating on the northwest corner. And you'll see I've got some grades there. There happens to be a pretty fairly flat spot up there, which would accommodate the system. The drainage kind of runs off from, there's a swale about 3/4 the way up on the northwest side that cuts kind of towards the middle and then starts heading on a steep southeast decline. So that is where all the drainage is there. I'm going to go ahead and, then again, I do have a goal on the next page. You should see a top section and a cross section of, that would be this one here, of said system, how it's set up from overhead and through the side. And I'll go ahead and give it back to you, Peg.
Peg, you're muted.
Sorry. All right. Thank you, Tom. And we'll move to the Berrien County Health Department presentation on your findings on the site.
Okay, this is Larry here. As Tom indicated, we did do some backhoe cuts that were.
Larry, you've got to come closer to wherever the computer is, please.
Okay, great. Moving down. You ready? Can you see me, hear me now?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, yes, as Tom indicated, we did some backhoe cuts on the property. We actually went between 13 and 16 feet. It was clay soils, as Tom indicated. Most of the back cuts were done, though, would be on the east side of the property. We did not do any on the west side where he has a projected house and drain bed. However, I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem as far as the soils go. And, you know, basically, is it all right if I indicate now what kind of concerns we have, or how do you want to proceed?
Yes, please, discuss what you're thinking.
Okay, basically.
Could I interrupt for a moment? Do you mind?
Sure, just a
Laird-
second.
Laird,
So,
I apologize. I had my directions. That is the northeast side, not
Oh,
the
the north-
northwest side.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Then getting back to that particular situation, then that's exactly where we did some of the cuts there. I was just looking at the property and the way it looks on the beacon here, it looks like it's on the northwest corner of that particular parcel. Anyway, like I said, as far as the system goes, normally we do 2 septic tanks out there. So Tom has indicated only 1. So in these type of situations, we have always had 2 septic tanks, and a 1,500 gallon would be for the first tank for a 4-bedroom with no garbage grinder, and then we'd like to add a 1,000 gallon septic tank after that, and then go into the 500 gallon dosing tank. And also, normally we try to remove the topsoil and save that and use that for cover. So if they did that, and usually it's maybe about a foot deep, so you would add a foot of sand, to existing grade, and then go with the 4 foot of sand above existing grade, and then install the system and cover. So, and the other question is how much cover we're going to have over the drain bed. So once that system is installed. And the thing is, we'd also like to have no water softener, of course, discharged to the drain bed. And then our normal inspections that we would be able to come out and take a look at it, which would be sand qualities, height of drain bed, sand slopes, the normal ones that we use for our mound type systems. So those are some of the concerns that we have here. I know, Tom and Oldenburg has put in quite a few mound systems, so that's no problem there. Just adding the additional septic tank, and then the amount of cover over the top of the drain bed, and then the no water softener, and the normal inspections. So that's our concerns.
all right.
Tom, do you have any, this is John Dwayne, do you have any problem with those changes?
One more time, how did you want to change the tanks up?
So what we're talking about is 2 septic tanks. So a 1,500 gallon. So I'm seeing if I heard you, Laird, because I'll change it into a motion if it's acceptable. So a 1,500 gallon tank for a 4-bedroom home, and a 1,000 gallon septic tank, a 500 gallon dousing tank with an alarm. No grinder, save the topsoil, put in 1 foot of sand to get it to grade, and then 4 feet of sand, no water softener, and the normal inspections to make sure that the mound system is working. Did I capture what you said, Lance?
It's Laird, and pretty much.
I mean, Laird, sorry.
Yeah, so that's okay.
Sorry about that, Laird.
That's all right.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so Tom, if you'd come off mute, please. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, I have no problem with that. And as far as the cover on the system, my drain bed will run from 4 to 5 foot, and I will have a foot of cover, which will be sand, and then topped off with the topsoil, which I will have stripped off. But yeah, I have no problem changing the tanks to, instead of 1 going to 2 like that.
Okay, and the 500 gallon dousing tank with an alarm is also acceptable?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right. Is there any discussion of this system from the board members?
This is John Dwayne. I'll second your motion.
Okay. Is there any discussion of the motion that I read?
I don't have a discussion on the motion. I have a question. that could possibly be brought up. The only thing that I don't see here, and I'm familiar with the property because it's in my district, I noticed that how far this is off of the road. And I noticed that the system location is drawn in pen or pencil there close to the blue property line. And with a mound system, I was just wondering what the distance was from the end of the mound system to the property line for the proper slope, so we don't have any issues of drainage to the other property, which is listed as 30502-0. That is one question that I have. I noticed that the house location is to the right.
Okay, so could we just take that one by one?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so the question is that mound system properly away from the boundaries so that there's no water coming off onto the adjacent landowner? So,
Yes.
Mr. Oldenburg and the Health Department, could you respond to Commissioner Scott's question?
Yeah, this system will take up approximately 124 by 114 feet. Now the actual drain bed is 30 by 40, and mathematically 7-to-1 slopes is be an additional 42 foot in each direction. And yeah, I'm confident that I've got that placed where it needs to be placed. The only question I have for Laird is my 7-to-1 slopes don't count as being needed to be isolated 10 foot away from the property line. Is that correct?
That's correct. Normally, we try to make sure that there is no, surface water coming off the mound that's going to impact the neighbor's property. So, I mean, we would stay, we don't want to have the slope end right up against the property line. And that, where water runoff could come to that point. So, if we come away from the property line at a, whatever the situation may be, I mean, you have 5 acres out there. And so I'm thinking you're looking, like you said, you indicated 114 by apparently 124 by 114 footprint. So if we stay away from the property line at least 5 to 10 feet, that would be more to everybody's situation there to that way we wouldn't have any water coming off onto the neighbor's property.
Is it okay if I reserve an option to make this a 20 by 60?
We don't have, from the health department standpoint, no, we don't have a problem with going, as long as 1,200 square feet is maintained as far as the size of the drain bed.
Yeah, I just would like to, just have that as an option, just to make sure I can, you want it away from the property line a little bit further. I think I can accommodate that much easier by doing that.
Okay, if that's the case, then I guess that's up to the board then. I mean, like I said, that we don't have an objection from the health department standpoint with, the dimensions of the drain bed.
All right, I'll revise my motion, but Commissioner Scott, you had a second question or thought?
Yes. At all septic and sewage appeals board meetings, I ask this same question. Where on here is the well located on the property?
From my understanding, they will be placing their well to accommodate this system to keep it away from it. They haven't got their well in yet. They have when I first talked about it, they were talking about having it, maybe 3/4 of the way up on the east side. So yeah, it would be, yeah, I'm very attentive as far as that goes, Mr. Scott, for sure.
No problem. I have to ask that question though, because that's very important. All right, that's all I had, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, so I would like to amend my motion to allow for a 20 by 60 foot mound. So just take it from the top. 1,500 gallon tank for the 4-bedroom home, 1,000 gallon septic tank, 500 gallon dousing tank with an alarm, no garbage grinder, save the topsoil that you put on, 1 foot of sand with a 4-inch sand on top, no water softener, regular inspections, and be at least 5 to 10 feet away from the property line. So may I have a motion and a second for that revised motion?
This is White.
It's
I move to,
it's John Dwayne.
I
I'll
move to
move.
accept the motion as you just described.
So Wayne has moved the motion, and Judge Dwayne, would you like to second it?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
Commissioner Scott, okay, so we
Yes,
have everybody
I'm good.
in favor? All right, so I don't think there's anyone to dissent. So motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Oldenburg, for coming, and thank you to the staff and to the Sewage Appeals Board. We stand adjourned.
Okay, thank
Thank
you very
you.
much. everyone.
Remember to make the minutes of this meeting, proposed minutes of this meeting, available and publish them on the website within 8 days, 8 business days.
All right, thank you so much.
We made it. All
Thank you.
Good to see
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah.
right. Bye.
Leave.